Welcome back to Cinema Corner. I'm Blake, and I'm here with my co-hosts, Josh and Alice.
Okay, well, today we will be talking about 2023 as a whole in terms of the budgets for movies and how much they made at the box office. So, did it break even or did it flop? Or did it make more? So, I believe none did. Okay, cool. Blake, you have a list. Go off the list, buddy.
Yeah, this was just kind of obviously Indiana Jones just recently came out, and there's been a lot of reports about its opening weekend has not been great, and that's kind of led all of us to realize that a lot of these movies, for the most part, have not been doing great. It's been looking like so. We kind of have been looking into the numbers of roughly how much it costs to make and how much they've been making, and it's kind of insane how much movies are to create nowadays. How much is getting put into them money wise is it's getting a little ridiculous, and that's probably why they're flopping so much, considering what is considered a flop, because it's just unreal how much they have to make in order to break even. It's just unrealistic. So, yeah, I guess we'll just get into it with one of the first movies. An interesting one, The Little Mermaid, live action remake from Disney. Obviously, live action has been pretty solid for business in terms of making money back. Lion King, I think, that surpassed a billion. And has any of the other ones done a billion that we know of?
I can't remember if
I don't think
Aladdin
so.
did or not.
But I think overall, I think they've been pretty successful. Little Mermaid, it roughly cost about $250 million to make. That's just to make, as Josh pointed out. That's not marketing and everything else. So,
well, also
there's
keep
a
in
lot
mind
more
though, Disney hasn't been spending that much on marketing. Seems like they seem like they're one of the few franchises that are just absolutely not marketing their films anymore. Almost to the point it feels like it's a tax write-off. But yeah, no. Little Mermaid's not even the worst one though. Definitely.
Yeah, but it is one of the few that seems like it did pretty good in terms of box office, as it's reported to be at least around 530 million. Is where it is now. It's still in theaters, so I mean, I wouldn't imagine those numbers are going to climb too much with movies coming out, and it's been out for a while. But as in terms of what I've looked up, pretty much everything's been a flop so far. I think that honestly is the most that a movie has made, pretty much, for the most part.
Oof,
that's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll go into should we just get into the big one, the real spenders here? Let's just get into it. Fast X, they went all out. They spent that money. 340 million to be a roughly amount how much they spent to make this.
Yeah. The most expensive
insane.
by a mile. More expensive than Guardians of the Galaxy 3 by almost 100 million for a budget.
100 mil. That's 100
mil for a third final movie of a trilogy. They spent 100 mil more. Yeah. And did awful domestically, at least, because they only made 146, I think it was, mil domestically. Worldwide, somehow they made still decent, like 700 mil.
740 million.
That doesn't count. Worldwide just absolutely buffs everyone. It doesn't count as much.
I guess that's just insane.
Yeah, I don't know how the executives can be looking at that. Finn, he got something on somebody.
Absolutely.
To be on a 10th film, to be like, yeah, let's spend 340 mil on this movie.
That's crazy.
Well, and they have that money because the last couple have made so much money. I can't remember if it was Fate of the Furious or if it was Fast 9. It made over $1 billion or something like that.
It was 7 or 8. No way it was 9. 9 did not do crazy good. 8, but 7 or 8 made $1 billion.
Yeah, it was one of the more recent ones.
I think it was 7, and then after that they've been falling off.
So they're pretty much using that and putting it into Fast X, Fast 10, whatever.
That's insane. Josh mentioned Guardians 3, so we can talk about that. As you said, it's right around 250 to make that one. And that resulted in roughly 865 million box office. So, I mean, that one, you factor in, it obviously had marketing, but that had to have at least made money. So that's one of the ones that actually made money.
Yeah.
Good.
That's insane to me.
Yeah, it takes you literally having
$250 million.
An absolute banger movie to make up for these Hollywood budgets.
Yeah, I mean, we'll go to Ant-Man 3, another Disney Marvel movie that came out this year, and that was roughly $200 million for that trilogy. 200 to make, and it roughly is at $475 million is what it made.
Yeah,
so you factor in marketing and stuff, did not do great.
Yeah,
maybe it probably roughly broke even.
Those go to Disney Plus straight away, almost too, so they're not really making much in terms of DVD sales, rentals, all those. That's just not happening.
That's
yeah. So for Disney, those are tough. That's why also Little Mermaid's like, yeah, I made some money, but right after the box office, that's it.
I mean, we could talk more about Disney with Indiana Jones Dial of Destiny. We talked about that, how it only, as of us recording, has its opening weekend, but that one's rumored to be roughly $250 million or more to make. And it's made roughly $80 million. Its box office opening weekend.
And since it's a Harrison Ford film, I think it's reported to be like one of the most expensive marketed films of insane proportions.
It said something that
the budget, right?
Yeah, it said something like they need to make at least like $750 million to break even with everything they put into it.
And they're only at 80,
and that's Mission Impossible's next weekend, and then Barbie and Oppenheimer aren't too far behind.
Yeah. Also, Insidious. I mean, for horror fans, that's also coming out this weekend as well. So it's like there's just so many films that could almost compete.
People are going to go see over Indiana Jones.
Yeah, because the biggest draw is the adults for that one, and it's like, okay, there's Mission Impossible and an Oppenheimer and even a scary movie that's done decent in the past for that franchise, and they're gonna pick. They're gonna pick the dog water.
For real, bro, dog water. Water everywhere. We'll talk about one of Josh's favorite movies of the year, The Flash. I don't know why he didn't make a video on it. We urged him to make one for the channel, and he's just not dedicated. But The Flash was roughly $250 million to make, and it made roughly $210 million in the box office.
That movie cost way more than $250, bro. You tell me a movie that's been delayed longer than the creation of the CW Flash show only cost $250 mil? Yeah. There's some inflation numbers not being added.
Where'd the budget go? Because it didn't go in editing. I can tell you that much.
Bailing out Ezra, marketing.
And then Ezra's in court.
Yeah.
The one that did make money, John Wick 4, it cost roughly $100 million to make, and its box office number was right around $450 million, it said. So you factor even in with marketing, that one had to have made money, which, shocker, the one that cost, who would have thought saying only $100 million would be a statement, but it only cost $100 million to make, and it made money back for sure.
Which, I mean, that still is blockbuster, like, money putting in, but I mean, that's your fourth film in already a steady franchise. Like, it makes sense to put that much in. If it was like 340 mil, it'd be crazy, but that's the biggest thing. It's like some of these movies, what are we doing? Like, this is crazy that it doesn't need a blockbuster budget to be put in every single film. Also, put in perspective, Asteroid City, you know what the budget was for that film? Even though, I know, Blake, you've seen it, you didn't really care too much for it. It was like $25 million.
Yeah, but because they don't pay anybody to make those.
I know. But still, it's just kind of like put in perspective, though.
Right, but Wes Anderson is known. Like, he does not pay people. You basically have to work for him for free. Because Edward Norton has been in several Wes Anderson movies.
He's only made like 4K.
And yeah, they said he's made like 4,000 from them.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that
she deserves
it wasn't marketed at all, really. So there was no marketing money into it. The actors didn't get paid anything. So it makes sense that one was so little because, it was dog shit. So that'll happen.
It's just wild. 25 mil.
And to put it in perspective in the other direction. So like Endgame cost roughly 356 to 400 million to make. Infinity War was 325 to 400 million.
That's a worthy investment.
So when you have like Fast 10 rocking 350, which is in that same ballpark, that's tough.
Insane.
The difference is that both of those made
over $1 billion. I mean, Endgame was
back
$2 billion.
and then some.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's
so
insane.
Yeah.
Bro, but if you add inflation numbers, that's only like probably a 50 million difference. Come on.
That's true. No, that's facts. Talk about inflation. Dungeons and Dragon cost 150 to make, made back roughly 210.
It did not make anything back because it has a lot of almost confirmed reports of at least 150 plus million in marketing. It needed to make 350 plus gross to break even.
That's unbelievable.
That's a lot for a shot in the dark type movie. Which I watched that. I did enjoy it. But no way would I have come out of that movie expecting that over $370 was spent for this.
I mean, it's just insane how much money is getting, because I mean, I'm sure there's some people out there who are going to try to market this as like the box office is dead, like movie theaters are dead because these movies are flopping. It's like, no, you're just not being realistic. You're spending way too much money on like. Here's a great example.
Marketing. On marketing, when you have Dungeons and Dragons cost 150 million and the marketing itself costs the same to make it that it did to promote it.
As somebody going into the marketing field, let me sign up. Let me market one of these movies or two. Give me 150 million to market. You know what I mean? Like, give me that kind of budget. I'll do something. Probably gonna pocket like 140 million of it. But you know, I'll get some marketing. I'll do a TikTok post or two for you.
Well,
let's talk about something. Oh, go ahead.
Real quick though, just put in perspective think of how much you saw or maybe not saw of Dungeons and Dragons advertising. And now compare that to any of the movies we've already mentioned and think how much you saw them. That means their marketing, if you saw them more, was even more than what Dungeons and Dragons even spent on their movie. And they spent over 150 mil. Put that in perspective.
I saw a lot of The Flash. It was
that's why those Flash numbers ain't right. That's what I'm saying. The budget is not, the marketing's not included in that budget. And so that is a lot of money, and they spend, even if they think they have a possible hit or flop, they spend even more. I'm telling you.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Let's talk about, a movie that did it right. A movie that didn't spend too much into it because it didn't expect much, but it still made some money, some good money. And that is, of course, Cocaine Bear. That cost roughly $25 million to make, Cocaine Bear. And it reportedly made a little over 100 mil. That's a good little chunk of change. They weren't trying to, make $1 billion. They made a little bit of money. You keep it moving. Another one, Creed 3.
And guess what? The CGI in Cocaine Bear is probably equivalent to The Flash.
Better. What do you... Actually, Cocaine Bear didn't... No, Cocaine Bear didn't have any CGI in it.
It's the bear, bro.
No. That's where part of the $25 million to make it went. They trained the bear as an actor.
Mm-hmm.
God didn't even see it. He doesn't know. Here's another movie. A trilogy. Creed 3, okay? The third one of a let's just go back, okay? Ant-Man 3, the third one. $200 million budget. Guardians of the Galaxy 3, $250 million budget. John Wick 4, not the third, but 4, $100 million. Creed 3 had a $75 million budget, okay? Not stupid like these other ones. You put a good amount into it. It made roughly $315 million. A nice win. A nice win. Why do they feel they need to pump so much into it?
Marketing too, though. So maybe they still probably broke even, but
they definitely made.
I don't know. I don't know how much profit they actually made on that movie.
They probably made at least $100 million profit.
Maybe, yeah.
I mean, what, 75 to 315? So that's what, 265 or something like that, 260 million. That didn't market it that heavy. Even if they put 100 mil into it, which I would highly doubt they put that much into it, that's still over 100 million budget made. That's mainly the ones that I have. I think that's pretty much all the numbers that I have for definite. But it's just, why are they pouring so much money into all these movies? Like, what are you doing? You're setting yourself up for failure.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, they're just literally just dumping. And also because a lot of them just have also, like, too much CGI. It's just not needed at all. So...
Right. I mean, that definitely...
Like another one, Shazam. Also, like, all the fucking DC films that have recently come out. All those major flops. Shazam, like, barely made over 100 mil for box office. And... that's with the fact that the marketing for that movie, it was probably 100 mil by itself. So you're already in the hole.
Yeah, I mean, like Shazam, there's no way Shazam made money. At the end of the day, it could not have made money. There's no shot. That just leads me to, real quick, I just have one more number to toss out there of coming up. We don't obviously know yet, but Mission Impossible 7 is coming out soon. What do you guys think the budget, given all we talked about here? What do you think the budget is for Mission Impossible 7?
175 mil.
Yeah, I'd go around the 150.
Roughly double that. 290 mil is the reported cost.
I assume that Tom Cruise would probably be taking pay cuts because he loves these movies so much.
I mean, he probably is, but you also got to remember, it's like they got to like get these big ass planes and like shut off.
I know that, but they never have a star cast.
And they have to go to a bunch of places. They have to travel. They have to pay for all the crew.
Yeah, but normally when you go to places, you get big major tax cuts because they want you to go there.
I mean, yeah, but a lot of them, if you go to a bigger place, they don't. You know what I mean? If he shoots in a bigger city, they don't care. Which Tom Cruise, he doesn't take too much. He usually takes off the back end. A lot of times he negotiates it where he gets a profit. You know, he makes money off the profit. But 290 million. I can't wait for this movie, but I just think
that's going to be.
That's on top of the marketing. I think that is going to be a tough one to make a big profit. Like you said, I think it's going to be worth it. I think it's going to be a great movie. But just being summertime and how we've seen so many other things flop, and 2 weeks after, is that Barbie and Oppenheimer?
Yeah, I'll see it twice if I have to.
I mean, yeah, low-key, I might go ahead, but that's going to be a lot of money to break even, and that's what all of these movies are. I mean, you're expecting to get at least $500 million to break even for the most part, it seems like.
But I will say, though, the difference with Mission Impossible is at least that one probably has more interest of older fans that might potentially rent it, might also potentially buy from it because that's an older franchise. Like, easily, my parents, I could see them renting that movie easily. Like,
you don't think it'll get them to the theaters though?
No, probably not. It would be like a maybe.
Because that's what I was thinking. I was thinking like my dad, because our parents are in probably that demographic of they knew Mission Impossible when they first came out.
Mm-hmm.
They were probably a little bit more into them. So I was trying to think of like my parents if they would be willing to go out to see it, and I don't think they will. So that's why it's tough to factor that demographic, because a lot of those people are just at the point where they're like, I'll wait a few months and eventually I'll get it on a service for free. And that's the older demographic. That's the younger, more, tech savvy, whatever you want to call them, generation. The older generations. My dad, anytime I ask him about a movie, he's like, I'll eventually catch it on some kind of streaming service in the future.
Or just rent it or whatever.
He's not spending that money to rent it. The fuck? Nah, he'll catch it for free, or he won't catch it at all, dog.
Dang.
So that's why I'm like, spending all that money, you're just banking Indiana Jones. That's another one, like you said. That's an older demographic that would be more.
That's just a Disney tax write-off. Can't
interested in seeing. Nah, bro. Disney owns ESPN. ESPN's cutting a bunch of people. Disney's going broke. That you're counting on an older demographic to get out and go see your movies. That it's kind of showing that demographic doesn't care to go to the theaters.
Yeah, especially with Indiana Jones. Like you had those came out in what, like the late 80s?
I think, yeah.
You just wait. Those are VHS times, baby.
For real. So like you're banking on when like that demographic, when they were teenagers, they're now like getting 50, up there 60. In age. Yeah. You're banking on those to go. And they're probably just also like, nah, I'll just wait for it.
I mean, if it didn't look like dog shit, my parents would have gone seen it. They actually were like interested in it and then saw like more trailers and it just does not look good. So I'm just saying, if it actually was good, it would have got them.
I think the thing with Indiana Jones is just that whole character. Nobody cares anymore. At the time, I'm sure it was a big thing because it was so cool. But like nowadays, people just don't really care for that adventure type of, scavenger movie. It's just like those are just so overplayed and just kind of like there's a bunch out there at this point. It's like, who cares? I'm not going to push. Now here's what I'll say. Getting a little off topic, okay? We're just keep flooding the market with the same shit. Okay, why does nobody go back to make stuff? You don't have to do anything new. You don't have to come up with a new idea. Just why doesn't everybody copy stuff that hasn't been copied too many times? Okay, when I say pirate movies, what comes to your mind?
Pirates of the Caribbean.
What else?
That's maybe Peter Pan.
Exactly. When you say anything about like adventure or treasure hunting, you think of National whatever Nick Cage's movie, National Treasure. You have Uncharted just came out. You have the Uncharted video games. You have the Tomb Raider things. You have Indiana Jones. There's so many of those. But when it comes to the pirate market, it's Pirates of the Caribbean and that's it. I don't understand if we're all going to copy anyways. Why is nobody copying the stuff that hasn't been copied for a while? That's going to be more interesting to people. If a new pirate movie was coming out that looked good, would you guys not want to go see it?
Just make the Assassin's Creed Black Flag be a movie. There you go.
Right. Like, I just don't, to me, I just think it's insane that they all copy the same stuff. I'm like, bro, you don't have to do anything new. Just copy the shit that hasn't been done a bunch. Not hard.
Yeah, but then if you think of it that way, then eventually that will get saturated, and then what? Then
it doesn't matter if you're the first one to do it. If you're the first one to copy the Pirates one, you're the first one to do it. Then you got that market first. Everybody else copies. Who cares? At that point, you already made your money. You're gone.
No,
you just have to be the first one to take it.
But I'm talking about it from the consumer standpoint, where okay,
you can't think like that. You got to think how to make money.
Facts.
That's
Get
it.
your money up.
Get your money up. Now you're funny.
Yeah.
Facts. Stay down.
And then eventually those will get oversaturated, and then even the OG that started like copying.
Yeah, but that's just the cycle of entertainment.
Their movies won't make the
clothes
same
come
budget
in and out of fashion.
It's just...
Well, yeah.
Facts, bro.
Facts. I drop big facts down.
Facts. For real, for real. I think that's going to do it, though, for this one. For our little box office. Movies are flopping, but are they really flopping, or just expectations way too high with how much money you're putting into it?
Like the Green Knight.
Clowns. For real, for real. Movie cost $1 million to make, and it made roughly $7,000. That's going to be it. Like this video. Comment down below what your thoughts of what box office, all the news of everything bombing is. What your thoughts of those are. Be on the lookout for the real bomb, Oppenheimer. Subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you guys in the next one.